Welcome back. So this is going to be major movement number 3 in our standing series. We've gone over basically our up and down, which is focused on the knees, our left and right, which is focused on the ankles and toes and feet and that whole area. And our last movement that we're going to work on in this set is going to be focused on our hips. Now, our hips are a ball and socket joint. They are one of the more complex joints in our body. They can do a lot of different movements. They can put our leg in a lot of different ways. But we are going to focus specifically on the rotation of the leg and the rotation of that ball in the socket. This is going to involve two major muscles that are actually minor muscles. They just are responsible for a lot of movement and a lot of issues because we don't tend to rotate our legs much in our daily lives anymore. So these muscles that are supposed to do that are underworked, and then they get weak, and then they get problems, and it messes us up. So we're going to start working with those two muscles. They are called the psoas and the piriformis. The psoas basically attaches on the inside of our femur up through our pelvis into our lower back. It is actually one of the major culprits of low back pain and low back dysfunction. And its main job is to protect us if we go and get scared. It is that muscle that is going to pull our leg up and in and rotate as it goes. So that's its main function, is a protection sort of thing. And we're focused on the one major aspect of it, which is that rotation. So if we were standing on one leg and put out our other leg, it's the muscle that is going to bring our toes in. So we can just work on rotating our leg inward, and that is the psoas muscle that's going to do that for us. That's the one that we're going to work on in this set. The other muscle is the piriformis, and it is basically the opposing muscle to this, and it attaches on the outside of our femur and goes up under some buttocks muscles and attaches back in here to our spine and tailbone. It's the one that is going to make our toes rotate outward. So psoas in, piriformis out. Psoas in, piriformis out. That's what happens if I do this with my leg in the air. If I am standing on one leg and I do all the things that we've been doing so far, keeping the hips nice and flat and level, staying up straight through the spine, and instead I fire my psoas on this side, on my standing leg, what happens is my whole body rotates off to the side. If I relax that and I come back to center, and now I focus on firing my piriformis on this standing leg, and my body is going to rotate out the other way. So psoas, my body rotates across this direction. Piriformis, my body rotates in that direction. Psoas in, piriformis out. We're going to do that bipedally. You can practice that on a single leg, both with it in the air and with weight on it, but I would actually think of those more as advanced versions of this. So probably something you want to work on afterwards, or just something that you can do sitting down even. Just get used to rotating that leg in and out, moving those toes in and out like windshield wipers sort of thing, just to kind of get the mind-body connection, so that when we start the actual work, the bipedal work on two legs, it's a little easier for our brains to comprehend it. What we're going to do, line up our toes. So they're on a nice flat line. They are absolutely parallel. Our feet are shoulder width apart. Our hips are nice and flat and level. We bend our knees and we sink down into horse stance, keeping that same alignment, pelvis flat, tall through the top of the spine, Everything else nice and relaxed. Now what I want to do is I want to work my piriformis and my psoas. So I'm essentially going to do one on each side. And this is going to do something that, sorry, I've been making it sound really complicated. We're just going to do the twist. Really, if I just said twist, you would probably get it. What we're doing is we're breaking this down into excruciating detail so that when we do the twist, we make sure it is absolutely precise and not just kind of a woo thing. If you're on the dance floor, woo, great. If we're in Tai Chi and Qigong class, precision. When I take this leg and I rotate my leg in, I want to feel almost like my toes are going to try and turn in. This is going to move my torso in this direction. So I'm pulling my torso around in the direction of those toes. There is always going to be an opposite movement, just like our weight shift that we were doing. So if I'm pulling these toes in, I kind of want to push those toes out that way. And what this is going to do by trying to rotate one toes in while pushing the other toes out, the inward rotation is going to fire that psoas. The outward rotation is going to fire this piriformis on this side. And that twists my body. And I come back to center. And then I try and push out these toes while pulling in these toes. Try and do that sort of thing. And it twists my body. I relax and I come back to center. Twisting. Relax. Twisting. And relax. So I said we're doing the twist, and we are, and it is a very simple movement. However, hopefully by focusing on where we're rotating our feet and actually twisting through our hips, we're starting to notice that there is some different kinds of twisting that's going on here. So as I'm rotating the ball and sockets, like really twisting my feet, I'm twisting from my hips, and I'm not twisting through my waist. So there's a couple of ways I can do the twist. If I twist through my waist, I can leave my hips in place, and I'm twisting through the waist. And we will be doing that later on. This one here, if I'm rotating my feet, I'm twisting my legs, I'm twisting from the hips, and my waist can go for the ride. So my upper body has moved, yet it is still square to my hips. Right? Twist. My upper body has moved, is now facing a different direction, but my hips, my shoulders are still squarely over my hips, and I come back. I can accentuate this movement, add to it by adding a twist through the waist. So if I twist through my hips, I get about 45 degrees. If I add a waist twist to that, I can twist basically 90 degrees. And come back to the center. Twist from the hips, twist from the waist, and you get a full twist to the side. It's not that doing the side twist is the goal. It is just a movement capability. First off, we want to make sure we get from the hips. We want to get that about 45 degrees, 45 degrees, 45 degrees, 45 degrees. Once we have that range of motion with our hips, keeping our shoulders squarely on top of them, then we can add a waist twist as well, freeing up this waist to get even more twist. Now, both of these are good, both of them are useful, And there is going to be occasions where you want to just move the hips and specifically not move the waist. So we want to get comfortable with this. And there's also going to be occasions where we want to move the waist and the hips, creating extra coil, extra spin, extra rotation. So we want to be able to get both of those happening. However, since this is the standing thing, honestly, focus on the hips first. We'll work on the waist later. There's other drills and stuff that are really great for adding this. So look for those coming up. And actually, it's the basic punching stuff, which I believe is in the seated Tai Chi already. So if you want to go down to the seated Tai Chi, you can start looking at the waist stuff. If not, hang on. It'll get repeated in this channel probably hundreds of times by the end of it. So, hanging out in horse stance, rotating toes, in and out, learning to twist from our hips. And again, next stage of this, make it a Qigong or Tai Chi. Breathe when you do it. Just like the previous one, as we shift out of neutral, out of this central position where everything is balanced and even, and I twist, I breathe in. And then to return to neutral, I breathe out. Breathing in, twist, breathing out. Breathing in, twist, relax back to neutral. Breathing in, back to neutral. Twisting through the hips. Moving about 45 degrees to each side. Nice and relaxed, nice and smooth. Don't hold your breath. Don't try and stress yourself and go, I gotta get another degree out of this. Don't worry, it'll come in time. Again, edge of uncomfortable, relax. Move to the edge of uncomfortable, relax. With this movement in particular, more than the last two, it's a really unusual thing for us to move this way in our modern lives. So take your time with it, relax, don't stress out about it. The only thing I would say is, and the only reason I brought up the waist, is so that you're looking for it and you're not cheating yourself in this movement by just twisting at the waist and leaving your hips behind. We really want to focus on those hip joints, really want to focus on trying to rotate foot out this way, pull in this way, bring that foot back in, flick that foot out, right? This thing that we're going to do, that twist from the hips, being able to twist through rotating that ball and socket joint. And again, if you're having trouble getting it, go back to just sit down, stick your leg out, rotate your toes in, rotate your toes out, rotate your toes in, rotate your toes out, and develop that mind-muscle connection so you can get right in here and twist. Twist and twist. Twist and twist. So, thank you for joining me on this one. Next, we're going to just work on a couple of combinations, show you how that goes, and allow you to start having fun with some more complex maneuvers, basically putting the three of them together, and a couple of pointers and tips, things to look out for. Make sure you're doing it correctly. As always, if you've got any questions, comments, concerns, general state of world affairs, or heard any good jokes lately, just drop them in the comments below. Thank you very much. We'll see you in the next one.